you wrote, quote, fragile but fervent. I was drowning in strange, unexplained symptoms every single day for over a month, somewhere between late August and mid-September 2021. It's crystal clear. It's a crystal clear blur at this point. This small dance work, encompassed as a knowingly permanent film, but created authentically and with urgency, it's far from perfect, that wasn't the point, was made to portray toggling between being terrified to fall asleep at night from fear of not waking up and the sometimes comical glimmering moments of a thrilling fever dream that I guess is the rite of passage when you move to NYC. And that was part of the caption from Instagram. So I want to ask you, before we get into the actual performance, what was going on physically in your life? What were you experiencing? Symptoms, everything that was going on at that time? It sounds crazy.
Yeah, I first want to say that the style of writing of that is really reflective of where I was at the time. I felt like I couldn't finish a thought. I felt like I couldn't pinpoint how I felt or what I was thinking. I need to write a short story about this because I still think back on this time and it's still so bizarre and I still have so many questions about what was wrong with me. But basically, I had strep throat that got bad. I ended up going to the hospital to get super cute a cyst inside my throat removed. And it wasn't fully removed the first time. So I went back to the hospital to have it fully removed. And it was. And then I took some antibiotics. I was feeling good. I was feeling tired from having strep throat, but I decided after I think 6 days of antibiotics, I would go take a dance class. And so I went to this dance class and it was a contemporary class. There was a lot of inverting. So my head was, closer to the ground than the rest of my body. That feeling when you're hungover in the morning and you first step out of bed and you feel like your body is not quite centered yet. Yeah. And that feeling of whoa, I might go down.
Yeah. Almost vertigo a little bit. You don't have a center of gravity.
Exactly. I started to feel that immediately after that dance class. And I went from the class to Chelsea Piers with my friend Thomas. And he was like, let's walk around and check things out. And I was like, I just need to sit down right now. I don't know what's going on. So that was the beginning of my mystery vertigo, which put me back in the ER 2 more times because I thought I was having, one city MD doctor told me that I had to go get tested for a blood clot. And then one time I thought I was just dying. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I'm back here because I'm really scared to be alone. And I was scared to fall asleep at night, which is a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling.
That's the anxiety from being scared to fall asleep must have been just crazy.
It was terrifying. And what was so scary was no doctor could tell me why I was getting vertigo. I went to a physical therapist who tested if the crystals in my ears were dislodged, and that was not the case. I went to an ENT doctor who told me that. Then I finally went to a physical therapist and they determined that I have visually induced vertigo. So, what is visually induced vertigo, right? That's not a disease, that's a symptom. What's the underlying cause of the visually induced vertigo? I still don't know. So all of August and part of September before making that film Smog, I lived with tons of fear because A, I didn't know what was wrong with me. And B, I was so dizzy that, I couldn't ride the train. I couldn't even be in my apartment alone because I was so scared of falling down.
Yeah.
So I was definitely leaning on my support system and my friends, which I'm doing again right now. And shout out to all of you. You know who you are.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was just a weird health thing, a weird unexplained disease. And I'm not new to chronic illness. I have ulcerative colitis. I've had that since I was 15. It's an autoimmune disease. I've done a lot of research on autoimmune disease in general. And this weird vertigo thing just didn't make any sense to me. But I tried to approach it from the same position as I do my other chronic illness. And I also have chronic pain, which is and maybe also the mouse. Like, it's sticking around. You might as well be friends with it.
Yeah.
So that film I purposely created because I had this urge within me to dance. I wanted to see what the dancing looked like, feeling dizzy in a safe way. So I asked my friend Carly, who's also experienced vertigo before, if she would feel comfortable creating this film with me. And it was, I came up with the idea like the night before. It was filmed, created, devised, produced, and finished within like 72 hours. So I was just trying to, I think, use that again in an experimental way and I wanted some feedback on what was happening in my life because I didn't have any when it came to my health. And what ended up happening was I bought this book called The Medical Medium, which I have not finished, but I read a big part of. And this doctor is suggesting that there are diseases and viruses that live in our bodies that don't go away. And if you feed those viruses, they get worse. So his theory is cleansing your liver with celery juice. And I did that. And I also stopped eating certain foods. And I paid a lot of attention to my sleep, and it helped me.
Really?
So I don't know what the deal is still. I don't know why I had vertigo for a straight month. And it was every day. Like, I couldn't go to work a lot of days. When I went to work, I couldn't get around. My body was really weak. My joints were locking up. Just like all of these things were happening to me. And that book was really the only thing I think that gave me an actionable thing I could try that would help me. And it did. But it got me thinking, like, what am I harboring in my body, whether it's my physical body or my mental body or my spiritual body? Like, what am I harboring that's keeping this virus like fueled and fed and attacking me? Virus, quote unquote. That's what that doctor was suggesting, but it's bizarre.